The drive up into the Bavarian Alps was supposed to be the happiest moment of my life. My fiancé, Marcus, was taking me to what he called his childhood home. He said we were going to celebrate our engagement with a surprise. The snow was falling in soft, fat flakes, dusting the pine trees and the beautiful villa that came into view. It was perfect. I'm Lena, an architect, and I live for beautiful buildings. This one was a dream. I got out of the car, holding a chilled bottle of champagne, my heart thumping with excitement. Marcus smiled, kissing my forehead. "Ready, my love," he whispered. I nodded, practically bouncing. He led me up the stone steps. I rang the doorbell, smoothing down my coat, ready to meet the family I'd heard so much about. The heavy oak door swung open. A woman stood there. She was elegant, with sharp, blue eyes and dark hair pulled back tightly. She wasn't smiling. She looked annoyed. "Marcus, you're late," she said, her voice like ice. "And who is this?" Marcus froze. His charming smile just vanished. I laughed nervously, stepping forward. "Hi, I'm Lena. I'm his fiancé." The woman's face hardened. She looked me up and down, and a cold little smile touched her lips. "That's impossible," she said, her voice clear and sharp in the cold air. "I'm his wife, Sabine." She stepped aside, gesturing with one hand. The hallway wall behind her was covered in framed wedding photos. Marcus and her, kissing at an altar, cutting a cake. "So, who the hell are you?" If you have ever felt your entire world shatter in a single second, you know this feeling. My story is a warning. If it touches your heart, please share it. Mine went completely blank. The bottle of champagne suddenly felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. "Wife," I whispered. The word felt wrong in my mouth. "Marcus." I turned to him. He was paper white. He looked like a ghost. He wouldn't look at me. He was staring at the woman, Sabine. "Sabine, stop this," he hissed. "It's not funny. This is Lena. I told you about her." "You told me nothing," Sabine snapped back. "You told me you were on a business trip in Frankfurt. Instead, you're here, late, with this fiancé." "Marcus, what is she talking about?" I pleaded, my voice trembling. The snow was melting on my coat. I suddenly felt freezing cold. "This is a joke, right? A sick joke." The wedding photos on the wall seemed to scream at me. They were real. The silver frames, the happy smiles, the white dress. It was all real. My stomach twisted. I felt like I was going to be sick right there on the welcome mat. Before Marcus could answer, before I could drop the bottle or run away, a small voice piped up from inside the house. "Papa, you came back." A little boy, maybe 4 or 5 years old, with Marcus's dark curly hair, ran past Sabine. He launched himself at Marcus's legs, hugging him tightly. "Did you bring me a present, Papa?" The bottle of champagne slipped from my numb fingers. It hit the stone step and exploded. The sound of the shattering glass was like a gunshot. It broke the spell. Marcus, who had been frozen, suddenly snapped into action. But it wasn't the action I expected. He didn't explain. He didn't comfort me. He got angry. "Look what you've done," he snarled, but he wasn't looking at Sabine. He was looking at me. He grabbed my arm, his fingers digging into my coat, his grip painfully tight. "Get in the car. Now." He started to drag me, pulling me away from the open door, away from the woman and the little boy who was staring at us with wide, confused eyes. "Marks, no. Who are they?" I cried, trying to plant my feet. The broken glass and champagne foam were everywhere. "You're hurting me. Who was that child?" He yanked me harder, pulling me down the slippery steps. "Get in," he growled. He shoved me into the passenger seat of his car, slamming the door. He ran around to the driver's side and jumped in, starting the engine with a roar. The tires spun on the snow as he threw the car into reverse. Marcus, talk to me. I was sobbing now, my whole body shaking from cold and shock. He slammed on the brakes at the end of the driveway and turned to me. His face was a mask of fury I had never seen before. That, he said, his voice terrifyingly calm, is my mentally unstable sister-in-law. My brother died 2 years ago. She's obsessed. She thinks I'm him. That child is my nephew, Leo. I stared at him. She called you Papa. She said she was your wife. She's sick, Lena, he shouted, hitting the steering wheel. She does this all the time. And you just embarrassed me. You embarrassed her. You ruined everything. I didn't know what to believe. My mind was spinning. A mentally unstable sister-in-law? It sounded possible. It sounded like something from a movie. But the way he looked at me, the hate in his eyes, it wasn't the look of a man trying to protect his grieving family. It was the look of a man who had been caught. He drove us in silence, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. I was too terrified to say another word. He didn't take us to another hotel. He took us to a cheap, sterile motel on the side of a dark highway. It smelled like bleach and sadness. Stay here, he ordered. I have to go back. I have to handle this. I'll be back in the morning. He left without another word. I sat on the stiff, polyester bedspread, shaking. I didn't cry. I was too numb. I believed him. I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe him. My whole life was built around this man. He said he needed to handle the family situation. He told me not to call. He said his sister-in-law might track the call and it would set her off. He'd call me when it was safe. I lay in the dark, staring at the ceiling, for hours. Then, around 3 a.m., my phone buzzed on the nightstand. It lit up the dark room. It wasn't a call. It was an Instagram DM. I didn't recognize the name. It was just a string of letters. But the profile picture was of the villa's front door. My heart stopped. I opened the message. It was from a private account. The account was named Sabine Wagner. The message contained a single, high-resolution photo. It was a picture of Marcus. He was fast asleep in a big, luxurious bed. The bed from the villa. And on his left hand, shining in the dim light, was a simple, platinum wedding band. A ring I had never, ever seen before. I couldn't breathe. It felt like all the air had been sucked out of the room. The picture was undeniable. It was him. It was the wedding ring. It was the bed from the house he called his childhood home. Every word he'd said to me was a lie. The unstable sister-in-law. The nephew. The business trip. All of it. I was the other woman. No, I was the fool. My shock turned into a cold, sharp fear. I wasn't just heartbroken. I was in danger. This man, this stranger, was a professional liar. He had left me in this awful motel, probably to go back to his wife. What was I supposed to do? Wait for him to come back and spin another lie? I didn't sleep. I watched the clock on the nightstand tick over, minute by minute. 4 a.m. 5 a.m. The moment I heard the sound of the shower in the room next door, the moment I knew there was a little bit of noise outside, I moved. I didn't pack. I didn't take the suitcase Marcus had packed for me. I grabbed my purse, my phone, and my jacket. I slipped out of the hotel room, my heart pounding so hard I thought it would burst out of my chest. I didn't look back. I just walked, half running, to the main road. I flagged down the first taxi I saw. The train station, I choked out. The nearest one. Please. On the 4-hour train ride back to Berlin, the adrenaline faded, replaced by a deep, dark dread. I had to know. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely type. I logged into my bank app. Into the joint savings account. The account we had opened. The one I had been putting all my savings into for our dream house. It was empty. Every euro. Over 80,000 euros. All my life savings. Gone. I arrived at my best friend Kotya's apartment in Berlin looking like a ghost. I hadn't cried yet. I was in a state of shock so deep that tears couldn't even form. I must have looked terrible, because when she opened the door, her friendly smile dropped. Lena! Oh my God! What happened? I stumbled inside, and the whole story just poured out of me. The villa, the woman, the child, the wedding ring, the motel, and finally, the money. When I got to the part about the 80,000 euros, I finally broke. I collapsed onto her sofa, a hysterical, sobbing mess. Kotya didn't just comfort me. She's a lawyer, and her brain works differently. She let me cry for exactly 3 minutes. Then she brought me a glass of water and a notepad. Okay, she said, her voice firm. We're not just sad. We're angry. And we're going to get him. She started asking questions. His childhood home. Where did he work? What's the name of his company? He's an investment banker, I whispered, wiping my nose. He was starting his own company. A new headquarters in Frankfurt. He said he needed a partner. Kotya's eyes narrowed. A partner. He said my architecture skills were perfect for it. He asked me to draw up the plans. As a partner. You know, for free. As a sign of our future together. My blood ran cold. The designs. Oh God, Kotya, the designs for the whole building. Did you sign anything? She asked, her voice quiet. Yes, I admitted, my voice small. A release. He said it was just a formality. To show his investors that the designs were his to use. He said it was ours. Kotya closed her eyes. Lena, she said. The 80,000 euro might be gone. But those designs, those could be worth millions. Kotya sprang into action. She was a tornado. I was just sitting there, numb, while she was on her laptop, her fingers flying across the keys. Okay, Lena. The Frankfurt headquarters. Give me the address. I gave it to her. It was an address I had memorized, one I had put on all my official blueprints. I had imagined visiting it, seeing my creation rise from the ground. Kotya was silent for a long time, just clicking. Lena, she said, turning the laptop toward me. This isn't a new, glittering high-rise. This isn't even a construction site. She showed me the screen. It was a Google Maps image of a small, run-down strip mall in an industrial suburb of Frankfurt. The address belonged to a tiny shop with a sign that said Post and Paket. It was a P.O. box. No, I whispered. That can't be right. The investors. The meetings he was always in. What was the name of his company? Kotya asked. The one you signed the release for. I told her. Wagner Holdings. Wagner, Kotya muttered. Like Sabine. Of course. She typed it into a database. A few seconds later, she shook her head. This company isn't registered in Germany, Lena. It's not registered anywhere in the EU. She kept digging. 10 minutes later, she found it. Here it is, she said, her voice grim. Wagner Holdings. It's a shell corporation. Registered 3 months ago in Panama. The room started to spin. A P.O. box. A shell corporation. What does that mean? Kotya looked at me, her eyes full of a mixture of pity and anger. It means, Lena, she said, that there is no headquarters. There is no company. And there are no investors. It was all a lie. He didn't just steal your money. He stole your work. I felt sick. My designs, my passion, the very core of who I was as an architect, he had taken it. He had used my love for him to build a complete fantasy. The 80,000 euros was a punch to the gut, but this This felt like he had stolen my soul. I had spent 6 months, hundreds of hours, pouring my heart into those blueprints. For nothing. For a P.O. box. He's not just a bigamist, Kotia said, pacing her living room. He's a professional con artist. A fraud. We sat in silence for a while. I was trying to process the idea that the man I was going to marry didn't exist. He was a character, a role Marcus was playing to get what he wanted. And I had fallen for it completely. Just as I was sinking into a new pit of despair, my phone rang. I flinched. I was terrified it was Marcus. But it was an unknown number, a +33 prefix. France. Don't answer it, Kotia said. It might be. I don't know. I pressed the accept button, my hand shaking. Hello. Is this Lena? A woman's voice asked. She had a thick, beautiful French accent. Lena Richter. Yes, who is this? The woman on the other end let out a shaky breath. My name is Chloe. Chloe Dubois. She paused, and when she spoke again, her voice was breaking. I was an investor with a man named Marcus Wagner for a new project in Frankfurt. I locked eyes with Kotia. I put the phone on speaker. He showed me the most incredible designs, Chloe continued, starting to sob. So modern, so brilliant. I invested my family's entire inheritance. 300,000 euros. And now he is gone. The money is gone. The phone is disconnected. My head was spinning. I couldn't speak. I just whispered, Chloe, those designs. They were mine. The silence on the other end of the line was heavy. What did you say? Chloe asked. The designs, I repeated, my voice stronger now, fueled by a new, cold anger. The architect. That was me. He was my fiancé. He stole them from me. And he stole all my money, too. Kotia took the phone. Chloe, this is Lena's lawyer, Kotia. You are not alone. You have been the victim of a massive fraud. We need to meet. Can you come to Berlin? 2 days later, Kotia's small office looked like a war room. Chloe had flown in from Paris. She was pale and terrified, but here. And she wasn't alone. Kotia, being the shark she is, had used Chloe's information to find 2 other investors Marcus had conned. There was a retired couple from Hamburg, Rolf and Goethe. They had invested their entire pension, 150,000 euros, after Marcus showed them my eco-friendly designs for the building's atrium. There was a doctor from Munich, Dr. Brandt, who had given Marcus 200,000 euros for a state-of-the-art medical suite I had apparently designed. We were all sitting there, a group of broken, stolen from strangers, connected by this one man's greed. And by my drawings. My designs were the centerpiece of his entire con. I finally understood the surprise celebration. It was all a lie. He needed to get me out of Berlin. He needed a reason to be out of touch while he emptied the joint account and, I assumed, the accounts of his investors. He was closing up shop. The Bavarian trip was his exit plan. He was probably planning to disappear forever, leaving me in that motel with a crazy story no one would believe. We were a team now. A very angry, very broke team. Kotia was our general. She explained that the police would be slow. This was a complex, international fraud case. Marcus was probably long gone. He's smart, Kotia said. He's had this planned for months. But he left one big, giant, angry loose end. Us. As she was speaking, my phone buzzed. It was another DM from the Sabine Wagner Instagram account. I had forgotten all about it. I almost deleted it. Don't, Kotia said. Open it. What does it say? I opened the message. It was a long paragraph. I saw you ran, it read. I don't blame you. He's a monster. He took everything from me, too. He left me and my son with nothing but debt. He's been lying to both of us. He's the one who's sick, not me. We need to help each other. We're the only ones who can bring him down. I read it out loud. Chloe scoffed. She is his wife. Of course she is lying. She is in on it with him. Rolf, the retired man, nodded. They are probably in Argentina by now, laughing at us all. I looked at the message, at the words he left me and my son with nothing. I remembered the little boy, Leo, yelling Papa. I remembered the fury in her eyes. I almost believed her. What if she is a victim, Kotia? Just like us. Kotia stared at the message, her lips a thin line. I don't believe in coincidences, Lena. And I don't trust anyone named Wagner right now. She's either a victim, or she's a co-conspirator trying to cover her tracks. Either way, we don't respond. So what do we do? I asked. We find out which one it is, Kotia said, pulling out her phone. I'm hiring a private investigator. The private investigator Kotia hired was expensive, but he was fast. He was a gruff, ex-police detective who specialized in financial crimes. We all pooled the last of our non-stolen money to pay his fee. It was the best money we ever spent. The report came back in less than 24 hours. We were all huddled around Kotia's laptop when the email came in. My heart was pounding so hard I felt lightheaded. Kotia opened the file. Okay, let's see. Marcus Wagner. Born in, oh, interesting. He's not from Berlin. He's from Leipzig. What about the villa? I asked. His childhood home. Kotia scrolled down. The villa in the Bavarian Alps is a short-term luxury rental. It was booked for 3 nights on a stolen credit card. The card was in the name of Dr. Brandt. Dr. Brandt, sitting next to me, made a choking sound. He stole my identity, too. But that's not the big part, Kotia said, her voice low. Sabine. I had him run her, too. She clicked on another file. Sabine Wagner. I found her Meldebescheinigung. A registration certificate. Is she his wife? I asked, holding my breath. No, Kotia said, turning the laptop to me. She's not. I found her birth certificate. Her maiden name is Wagner. Her father's name is Ralph Wagner. Her mother's name is Ilse Wagner. She then clicked on Marcus's file. And Marcus's parents, Ralph and Ilse Wagner. I stared at the screen, confused. I don't understand. Kotia looked me right in the eyes. Lena. Sabine is not his wife. She's his sister. The air left my lungs. His sister. I looked around at the others. Chloe had her hand over her mouth. Rolf was shaking his head. But, the boy. I stammered. Leo? He called him Papa. Leo is Sabine's son, Kotia read from the report. He's Marcus's nephew. The father is listed as unknown. My blood ran cold. I wasn't just tricked. I was part of a performance. A play. The unstable sister-in-law story was a lie. The scorned wife act was a lie. The DM she sent me. He left me and my son with nothing. That was a lie, too. It all clicked into place, in the most horrifying way. Oh my God, I whispered, standing up. It was a show. A setup. What do you mean? Dr. Brandt asked. They needed me out of Berlin, I said, pacing the room. Marcus couldn't just leave. I would have gotten suspicious. He needed a reason for me to be gone, and for him to be unreachable. So he created a huge, dramatic, emotional scene. He was counting on you running, Kotia added, the pieces fitting together for her, too. He needed you to be a hysterical, heartbroken wreck. The disgruntled fiancé. Why? asked Goethe, the retired woman. Because, I said, the horrifying realization dawning on me. If the investors came looking, if the police started asking questions, who would be the perfect person to blame? The brilliant, talented architect. The scorned woman who helped him make the plans, who had access to the company, and who then stole 80,000 euros and disappeared. That money wasn't just a theft. It was my cut. They were framing me to take the entire fall. For a moment, no one spoke. The sheer evil of it hung in the air. They weren't just con artists. They were sociopaths. They were going to destroy my life, my reputation, and my freedom, all while they sipping cocktails on a beach somewhere. My numbness vanished. My fear vanished. My sadness vanished. All that was left was a white-hot, burning rage. No, I said, my voice low. This does not happen. We are not the victims here. We are the ones who are going to stop them. He's probably already out of the country, Lena, Rolf said sadly. I don't think so, I said, a plan forming in my mind. He's arrogant. He thinks I'm a sobbing, broken-hearted fool. He thinks I'm hiding in my apartment, crying into a pillow. He doesn't think I'm with a lawyer. He doesn't think I'm with you. I looked at Kotia. He thinks I'm alone and stupid. Let's use that. Kotia's lips curved into a thin, dangerous smile. What are you thinking, Lena? He's protecting Sabine, I said. He hasn't been arrested, so he's not talking. He thinks his plan is working. I'm going to call him. I'm going to be the hysterical, broken fool he wants me to be. Kotia's eyes lit up. The bait. I love it. We'll need a public place, I said. And we'll need witnesses. I pulled out my phone. I took a deep breath, thought of all the pain and humiliation, and dialed his number. He answered on the second ring, his voice smooth and concerned. Lena. Oh my God, baby, where are you? I've been so worried. I let out a loud, shuddering sob. Marcus, I cried, I'm so sorry. I ran. I got scared. I believe you. I believe you about Sabine. I'm so confused. And that French woman, Chloe? She called me. She's saying terrible things. Chloe. Marcus's voice instantly changed. The fake concern was gone, replaced by a sharp, cold edge. What did she say? Where are you? Don't talk to her, Lena. She's a liar. She's trying to ruin me. I don't know. I wailed, giving the performance of my life. I'm at a small cafe. The one near the museum. I'm all alone. I'm so scared. This was the trap. Kotia, Chloe, and the others were in a van parked across the street, listening to every word via my paired earbuds. Stay there, Marcus commanded. Don't move. Don't talk to anyone. I'm on my way. We'll fix this. He hung up. He's coming, I said to the small microphone on my lapel. Showtime. Kotia's voice crackled in my ear. Remember, Lena, you're not just sad. You're worried about the money. Get him to talk about the money. 20 minutes later, Marcus burst into the cafe. He looked terrible. He was unshaven, his eyes were darting around, and he looked paranoid. He wasn't the calm, cool con man I knew. He was a rat in a trap, and he didn't even know it. He slid into the booth opposite me, his eyes softening when he saw my tear-stained face. Oh, Lena, my love, he said, reaching for my hands. I was so worried. You can't believe the things that woman is saying. But Marcus, I whispered, pulling my hands away. She said you stole her money. She said our money is gone. The 80,000 euros. Is it safe? I checked the account. It's empty. He smiled, a tired, patronizing smile. Of course it's safe, baby. I told you, that woman, Chloe, she was trying to hack us. I had to move our money to protect it. I moved it to a private, offshore account. For us. For our future. It's all safe. An offshore account? I asked, widening my eyes. But, when can we get it back? I'm scared, Marcus. Everyone is saying these awful things. Don't worry, he said, patting my hand. As soon as we're out of Germany, as soon as we're away from all these crazy people, it's all ours. You, me, and our money. Everything is going to be fine. You just have to trust me. Where did you move it, Marcus? The voice wasn't mine. It was Cotier's. It was loud and clear and came from right behind him. Marcus spun around. Cotier was standing there, holding her phone up, the red record light shining. Chloe, Rolf, Goethe, and Dr. Brandt stepped out from behind a pillar, blocking his exit. What is this? Marcus stammered, his face turning pale again. Lena, what did you do? She did the smart thing, Cotier said. She talked to her lawyer. Marcus looked at the investors, then at me. His eyes turned black with rage. You! He screamed. He lunged across the table, grabbing for me. You stupid little. He never finished the sentence. Two large, plainclothes police officers, who had been sitting at the counter drinking coffee, grabbed him from behind. They slammed him against the wall. Marcus Wagner, one of them said. You're under arrest for suspicion of fraud, identity theft, and grand larceny. As they cuffed him, his eyes found mine. The hatred in them was so pure, so absolute, it almost knocked me over. But I didn't look away. I just stood there, my hands steady, as they dragged my fiancé, the man I thought I loved, out of the cafe in handcuffs. Marcus was in custody. But as we sat in a police station debriefing room, the victory felt incomplete. Cotier was right. Marcus was arrogant, but he wasn't stupid. He hadn't said a word since his arrest. He just kept asking for his lawyer. He's not talking, the detective assigned to our case said, rubbing his tired eyes. He's protecting someone. And his lawyer is good. We can hold him on your testimony, Lena, and the wiretap. But the big money, the offshore accounts, he's not the one who controls them. What do you mean? I asked. Con men like Marcus, they are the face, the detective said. They are charming, they make the sale. But they're almost never the brain. There's always someone else in the background. Someone quiet, organized. Someone who controls the ledgers. I looked at Cotier. We both said her name at the same time. Sabine. His sister, the detective nodded, reading the file. The wife. She's the one who's still out there. She's the one who has the keys to the kingdom. We have a warrant out for her, but she's vanished. The Leipzig apartment is empty. The retired couple, Rolf and Goethe, looked devastated. So, it's over. Goethe whispered. Our money is just gone forever. Not if I can help it, I said. The rage was back. Marcus was just a puppet. Sabine was the one pulling the strings. She was the one who designed the play I was forced to star in. She was the one who built the financial prison we were all in. She's the brain, I said to the detective. And I think I know how she thinks. She's not just a con artist. She's a mother. She's protecting her son. She wouldn't just run. She'd go somewhere she felt safe. She's not at her apartment in Leipzig, the detective repeated. We've had a car on it. No movement. But did you check her son's school? I asked. His kindergarten? She wouldn't pull him out. That would attract attention. She's probably hiding nearby, waiting for the heat to die down. The detective's eyes lit up. He made a call. 20 minutes later, he got a call back. Well, he said. The son, Leo, was signed out of kindergarten an hour ago. By his aunt. The PI's report says Sabine has no other siblings. She's running, Kotia said. She knows Marcus is caught. Or, I said, she's going to get her son and her go-bag. The detectives' team moved fast. They tracked Sabine to a small, unremarkable apartment building on the other side of Leipzig. It wasn't registered in her name. It was rented under one of Dr. Brandt's stolen identities. The police were ready to raid, but Kotia stopped them. Let Lena go first, she said. If Sabine thinks it's just the stupid fiancé, she might talk. If she sees police, she'll lawyer up, and we'll never see those ledgers. The police agreed. They would wait in the stairwell. I walked up to the door, my heart in my throat. I knocked. A moment later, Sabine opened it. Her polished, elegant look was gone. She was in a baggy sweatshirt, her hair was a mess, and she was smoking a cigarette. She looked exhausted. When she saw me, her eyes widened in shock. Before she could slam the door, I spoke. The act is over, Sabine. We know you're his sister. She deflated, leaning against the doorframe. So? He's the one they caught. Not me. He's going to jail for a long time, I said. And he's going to take you with him. Unless you help yourself. I did what I had to for my son, she whispered, tears welling in her eyes. Leo, he's all I have. Marcus, he promised he'd take care of us. Her victim act was good. I'll give her that. She looked just like a woman who had been manipulated, a single mother just trying to protect her child. She was probably hoping I would feel sorry for her, that I would relate to her as another woman scorned by Marcus. I almost felt a pang of pity. But then I remembered Chloe's sobbing voice on the phone. I remembered Goethe's trembling hands. I remembered my own empty bank account. Save it, I said, my voice cold. I'm not Marcus. I don't fall for your lies. I pushed past her into the apartment. It was small, but tidy. There was a little backpack with a cartoon dinosaur on it by the door, ready to go. Leo was asleep on the sofa. He's a monster, she tried again, following me. He's a sociopath. He forced me. He threatened my son. Really? I asked. Is that why you're the one with the offshore accounts? Is that why the luxury rental was booked on a credit card you stole from Dr. Brandt? Is that why you were the one who sent me the scorned wife DMs? Her face went pale. I don't know what you're talking about. I think you do. As I was talking, I was scanning the room. My architect's eye is trained to see things that are out of place. And in a perfectly tidy apartment, one thing was very, very wrong. A section of the wall, behind a painting of a boat, was slightly misaligned. I walked over. A wall safe. I said. How cliché, Sabine. Get away from that, she shrieked, lunging at me. But it was too late. I pulled the painting aside. There it was. A small, digital safe. I don't suppose you're going to give me the code, I said. As she ran at me, the apartment door burst open. The police team, hearing the scream, flooded the room. Police! Don't move! Sabine stopped, her face a mask of pure, unfiltered hatred. She was cornered. Sabine was a different person at the police station. The scared mother was gone. The hateful mastermind was gone. Now, she was a cold, calculating businesswoman. She saw the evidence piled against her, the safe's contents, the PI report, my testimony, and she did the only logical thing. She made a deal. Here's the violent one, she told the prosecutor, Kotia and me sitting in the room. He's a sociopath. He forced me into this. He threatened Leo. The prosecutor, a smart woman who had seen it all, just sighed. Ms. Wagner, the evidence shows you were the one managing the accounts. You were the one who created the Shell Corporation. You were the one who booked the villa. He made me, she insisted. I'll offer you a deal, the prosecutor said. Full testimony against your brother. You give us every account number, every password, every single stolen asset. You tell us everything. In exchange, we'll recommend a reduced sentence for your cooperation. You'll still do time. But you'll be out in 7 years instead of 20. Sabine didn't even hesitate. Done. She was ruthless. She threw her own brother under the bus to save herself. She gave them everything. The encrypted laptop. The bank ledgers. The fake passports. She detailed the entire operation, from the moment they targeted Chloe to the fake wife plan. When Marcus was brought into an interrogation room and told that his sister had turned on him, that she had given up everything, he finally broke. He confessed to it all. He raged. He cried. He screamed that Sabine was the one who came up with the fake wife plan as a fun way to get rid of me. He said he just wanted to tell me it was over, but she said this was cleaner. They were monsters. And they were going to turn on each other to survive. The criminal case was a slam dunk. With both siblings confessing and pointing fingers at each other, the state had everything it needed. They were going to prison for a long, long time. But for me, and for the other victims, it wasn't enough. Our money was still frozen in offshore accounts, tangled in a legal mess that could take years to unravel. That's when Kotia smiled. The criminal case is over, she announced to our little group. Now, the real revenge begins. She filed a massive civil suit. We weren't just suing Marcus and Sabine for the money they stole. We were suing them for so much more. On behalf of Chloe, Rolf, Goethe, and Dr. Brandt, we sued for fraud and punitive damages. And on my behalf, we sued for intellectual property theft. We sued for copyright infringement. We sued for the non-consensual use of proprietary architectural designs. We're not just going to get your €80,000 back, Lena, Kotia said, her eyes gleaming. We are going to make them pay for every single brick in that imaginary building. The media got hold of the story. The con man and the architect's revenge. The fiancé who fought back. It was a viral story in its own right. Suddenly, I wasn't just a victim. I was a symbol. Marcus and Sabine, fighting from separate jail cells, tried to have the case thrown out. Their lawyers argued that the designs were worthless sketches. That they were a gift from a loving fiancé. Oh, they're going to regret that, Kotia said. Let's go to court. The civil courtroom was packed. The story had captured the city's attention. Marcus and Sabine were there, in handcuffs, looking sullen and angry. They had to watch. Their lawyer, a slick man in a cheap suit, repeated his argument. These were not designs, Your Honor. They were doodles. Sketches on a napkin, a gift from Ms. Richter to her fiancé. They have no commercial value. No value. Kotia said, her voice echoing in the silent room. Your Honor, the prosecution calls an expert witness. The courtroom doors opened. In walked Professor Elias Wenger. The Elias Wenger. The most famous, most respected, Pritzker Prize-winning architect in all of Germany. He was my hero. I had studied his work for years. Kotia had sent him my story, and he had been so outraged that he offered to testify for free. Marcus's lawyer went pale. Professor Wenger sat down. Kotia put my designs, my original, detailed, 3D rendered blueprints, up on a giant screen. Professor, Kotia said, in your expert opinion, what is the value of these doodles? Professor Wenger put on his glasses. He looked at the designs for a long time. The room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Doodles, he finally said, his voice booming. These are not doodles. These are breathtaking. The use of light, the sustainable framework, the structural integrity is flawless. These are not just sketches. These are the work of a visionary. In today's market, these designs, they are worth millions. He then turned, not to the judge, but to Marcus. And you, sir, he said, are a fool. To have someone this brilliant in your life, and to see her not as a partner, but as a mark, you deserve to lose everything. I burst into tears. But this time, They were good tears. The judge's decision came down like a hammer. We won. We won everything. The judge, a no-nonsense older woman, was visibly furious. This court, she said, finds the actions of Mr. Wagner and Ms. Wagner to be not only criminal, but morally bankrupt. They did not just steal money. They stole futures. They stole trust. And they preyed on the love and talent of Ms. Richter. She awarded us the full amount. Chloe, Rolf, Goethe, and Dr. Brandt would get every single cent back, with interest. And then she turned to me. She awarded me the full 80,000 euros. And then she awarded me punitive damages. And then, in a move that made Cottier actually gasp, she granted us full control of the Shell Corporation, Wagner Holdings, and all its frozen assets. We were in shock. We had won so completely. And then, the criminal sentencing happened. Marcus and Sabine were brought in. The judge gave them the maximum sentence. 10 years for Marcus. 7 for Sabine, for her cooperation. Sabine, ever the pragmatist, just nodded, her face grim. She had expected it. Marcus, however, did not. When he heard 10 years, something inside him snapped. The mask of the cool, charming con man fell away, and the monster I'd seen in the car was back. He roared. It wasn't a word. It was just a sound of pure animal rage. You, he screamed, his eyes locking on me. You did this. You bitch. He vaulted over the railing, lunging for me, his cuffed hands reaching for my throat. I had a split second to react. But I didn't. I just sat there. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't even flinch. I just watched him. 2 court guards tackled him in mid-air, slamming him to the floor just feet from me. He was screaming, crying, spitting. A pathetic, broken man. He had no more power. He couldn't touch me ever again. The aftermath was messy, but it was a good kind of messy. Cottier and I spent the next 6 months untangling the web Sabine had woven. We liquidated the assets. We fought with banks in Panama and the Cayman Islands. But we did it. The first checks I wrote were to Chloe, Dr. Brandt, and Rolf and Goethe. I flew to Hamburg to give Rolf and Goethe theirs in person. When Goethe saw the check, for the full 150,000 euro plus interest, she burst into tears and hugged me so tightly I thought my ribs would crack. You are our angel, Lena, she sobbed. No, I told her, hugging her back. I'm just an architect. And I hate seeing a bad design. Chloe used her money to open her own bakery in Paris. Dr. Brandt used his to fund a free clinic for a weekend. We were all changed, but we were all healing. We were survivors. After everyone was paid back, after all the legal fees, there was still a surprising amount of money left over. And there was one other asset. The asset that started it all. The one real thing Marcus had actually purchased with the stolen money. He had to make the con look real. It was a single plot of land. An empty, overgrown, forgotten lot in a developing neighborhood of Frankfurt. The lot where my headquarters were supposed to be. It was mine now. I stood on it, Cottier by my side. The wind whipped my hair around my face. So, she said, what are you going to do with it? Sell it. Build that big glass tower and finally get paid for it. I looked at the weeds, at the broken fence. I thought about the building I had designed. And I just smiled. I didn't sell the lot. For a year, I just let it sit. I went back to work. I took on small projects. I healed. I learned to trust again, starting with myself. I went to therapy. I had coffee with friends. I lived. But the lot was always in the back of my mind. The Frankfurt lot. One night, I woke up at 3 a.m. The same time I had seen the DM from Sabine. But this time, I wasn't scared. I was inspired. I went to my drafting table and pulled out my old designs. The ones Professor Wenger had praised. The visionary ones. I looked at the glass tower, the corporate lobby, the cold, steel and glass exterior. I took a piece of tracing paper and laid it over the top. No, I whispered to the empty room. Not like this. I started to draw. I kept the bones of the building. The sustainable framework, the way it caught the light, the brilliant parts. But I changed the heart. I got rid of the corporate lobby. I turned it into a warm, open atrium with a garden. I got rid of the executive suites and turned them into small, safe, private apartments. I changed the boardroom into a children's daycare. I turned the underground parking garage into a skills workshop. I worked for 72 hours straight, fueled by coffee and a new kind underscore of purpose. When I was done, it wasn't a corporate headquarters anymore. It was something else. It was something new. I took the new plans, and all the money left over from the civil suit, and I went to the city of Frankfurt. I presented my idea. 1 year later, I am standing on that same plot of land. It's not empty anymore. The sun is shining. There's a crowd of people here. Chloe is here. Her bakery's croissants are on a table. Rolf and Goethe are here, handing out lemonade. Dr. Brandt is here, too. Kotia is standing next to me, beaming. The building behind me is beautiful. It's not cold. It's warm, made of wood and glass and reclaimed brick. It's full of light. A sign is unveiled. It reads, The Phoenix Foundation. It's a state-of-the-art, beautifully designed center. It's a temporary shelter for women and men who have been victims of financial and emotional fraud. It offers free legal aid, Kotia's new side project. It offers job training. It offers a safe place to land, a place to rebuild. My stolen designs, born from a lie, have been rebuilt into a sanctuary. I take the small microphone. I look out at all the faces. They try to bury us, I say, my voice strong, not a single tremor in it. They didn't know we were seeds. My revenge wasn't just about getting justice. It wasn't about the money. It was about rebuilding. It was about taking the broken pieces of my life, the ugliest, most painful parts, and using them to build something that could shelter others. Something firm, and something with heart. Thank you for reading my story. If you, or someone you know, has ever felt broken by someone else's lies, please share this story. Remind them that it's possible to rebuild, and that the best revenge is not just living well, it's building something better. Subscribe for more stories of justice and new beginnings.